Welcome to Missouri Sports Talk. I'm your host, Cameron Staley, and today I'm here with my dog, Brutus. I don't have a microphone for him because he doesn't talk, obviously. So my videos that I do alone are the worst performing videos on the channel. That's just an obvious thing. If you go sort by most popular and scroll all the way to the bottom, it's going to be the gaming videos and the videos that I do alone. So I'm deploying a new soldier to see if he can help with some views. He may do some stuff here and there that you guys like. Looks like he's about to fall asleep, maybe. Maybe not. But anyways, before we go any further, take a look at what's on the screen right now. 86% of you guys are not subscribed, so please subscribe. That would be greatly appreciated, so I know you guys are enjoying my content. We will have videos Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, hopefully Saturday. If the Saturday video can't be up, then it'll be up on Monday. So, 4 videos a week. Subscribe. You guys will see a lot of content here. So, how this video works, this one's going to be short. This one's probably going to be like 15 minutes. I guess I'm no expert. You're going to see if you click on the screen right now, you see the time of the video. But throughout these videos, for college at least, I have 3 scoreboards for this: a Missouri scoreboard, a SEC scoreboard, and a top 25 scoreboard. And there's 6 games on each of them. I predict every single game. 18 games predicted a week. I will keep the stats for that. End of the season, we'll look back, see how good I did this year. And, let's just go ahead and get into it. The Missouri scoreboard. Here it is. Let's just jump to the bottom first. Wayne State against Missouri S&T. I believe that is a Thursday night game. Thursday at 6 p.m. Missouri State on the road, of course. Home teams on the bottom. I've got Wayne State by 13 in this one. They went 8-3 this past year. That's going to be a big game. Next, let's talk about Northwest and Minnesota State. I believe Northwest is hosting this one. Thursday, another 6 p.m. game. This is a big one. Northwest is 22 in the country. Minnesota State is 13. So this is a top 25 matchup on Thursday. And Maryville, I think, is where Northwest is. I'm going to take Northwest by 6 points in this one. It's going to be a very close game. Both teams are very good. Northwest has to refill their quarterback room this year. So we'll see how that goes. They lost Honess, I want to say, if that's the correct pronunciation. Geez, I'm having problems over here. Let's just move on. Act like that never happened. Let's talk about Kansas hosting Lindenwood. This is not going to be a close game. It's very obvious. Lindenwood had 3 wins last year. I would love for Lindenwood to put Kansas in a position where they just question their football program altogether, but I just really don't think that's going to happen. I'm going to take Kansas by 23 points. How about SEMO and New Mexico State? New Mexico State is hosting this one. SEMO won last week. They are 1-0. Very impressive win against North Alabama. Paxton DeLaurent went down with an injury. I think it was before halftime. Carter Helsley comes in, and they almost played better, I want to say. So hopefully there's not really a QB competition because I think DeLaurent's the guy, and he started last year as well. But life beyond DeLaurent. Helsley is a very, very good quarterback. And we saw Peyton Brown, true freshman running back from Hillsboro. Yeah, Hillsboro. And then his brother Preston is the senior quarterback this year. I think he was all-state. But Peyton had 3 touchdowns in this game. He played absolutely insane. And, New Mexico State's just at the bottom of the FBS. So, I'm going to take an upset here. I know that's very interesting. You guys may not like that. But I'm going to represent with the Missouri teams here. I'm going to take SEMO by 5 points. Let's just talk about Missouri and Murray State before we talk about that 6th one. Mizzou always plays these FCS teams soft. I think that's just kind of how a drink goes. So Thursday night game, 7 p.m. I will be there. Make sure to DM me if you're going to be there. We can meet each other, hang out for a little bit. I've got Mizzou by 28 in this one. It could be more if Drink doesn't take the foot off the gas, but expect half the game played by Drew Pine or Sam Horn and, Brady out around halftime maybe, and then, Luther and Theo, of course, out by halftime. Starters probably be out by halftime, if we're going to be honest. So, it's going to be an interesting game. Mizzou's 11th in the country. I think that they'll wrap this one up pretty easily. They should not have any trouble with Murray State, but I guess we'll see. Our Missouri game of the week, Montana hosting Missouri State on Saturday at 8 p.m. Normally, I will have matchup graphics up on the screen for this one. Obviously, you're still staring at me right now because we don't have any stats right now. So, I don't think you guys really want to stare at a screen that has the Missouri State logo and the Montana logo, and it's all zeros. So we'll start that up next week. But I am going to take Montana in this one. I know, stabbed right in the heart. I'm going to take Montana. I believe they're the number 3 team in the country for FCS. And, great team. I'm going to take Montana by 10 points in this one. Let's go ahead. Let's go to the SEC scoreboard. As you can see on the screen, I left out a few, Texas against Colorado State. Texas is probably going to win that one by 30-something. And then Ole Miss against Furman, also another 30 or 40-point win for Ole Miss. So here's the 6 that we have. Oklahoma versus Temple, Georgia versus Clemson, Florida against Miami, Alabama against Western Kentucky, Texas A&M against Notre Dame, and LSU versus USC. So let's just start. Number 16, Oklahoma versus Temple on Friday at 6 p.m. I'm going to take Oklahoma by 34 points in this one. And then let's double down with another blowout. Number 5, Alabama hosting Western Kentucky on Saturday at 6. I'm going to take Bama by 37. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Florida is hosting number 19 Miami on Saturday at 2:30, 3:30 in Florida. I'm going to take Miami by 15 in this one. Cam Ward transfers from Washington State to Miami instead of going to the draft. Miami's going to be a solid team this year. You can't even say that's a dark horse for the ACC. They're going to be ranked probably the whole entire year as long as Cristobal coaches well. And, that has been kind of in question. He coached really good in Oregon, and then he went to Miami, and it's just kind of been bad. But I think Miami will get this one done pretty easily. Next, let's talk about LSU and USC. LSU is number 13 in the country. USC is 23. This is a Sunday game. Sunday at 6:30. We don't have any NFL, so they can do that. So, Sunday prime time. I'm going to take LSU by 13. That's the number country ranked that they are. I think LSU is just way above USC right now. I think USC will drop out of rankings from this one. The USC's defense is just awful. They got Miller Moss at USC for quarterback. Sorry, I'm tripping on my words here. He played really, really good in the bowl, so expect him to have a great season. But with that LSU defense, I think he's just kind of going to slip up in this one. And I also need to note this one is in Las Vegas at Allegiant Stadium, home of the Raiders and the UNLV Rebels, which obviously is not an important thing to note, but I did it anyways. I think LSU wins by 13 in this one. I think Garrett Nussmeier? Brutus, is it Garrett? He doesn't know either. I think it's Garrett. I know it's Nussmeier is the last name for their starting quarterback there for the Tigers. I'm high on LSU this year. Not sure if they're going to make the playoff, but they're going to have a pretty solid year. Let's go on. Texas A&M hosting Notre Dame. This one is interesting. Riley Leonard, star Duke quarterback. He transfers to Notre Dame. I think that he's going to have a big game in this one. I'm going to take Notre Dame by 10 points. I think it's going to be played close because I think Texas A&M is solid this year. They actually took the Duke head coach, Mike Elko. So, Duke head coach at A&M, Duke QB at Notre Dame. So that's going to be a fun dynamic that has nothing to do with Duke at all besides that being, former head coach and QB. So I think that's kind of funny. But I am going to take Notre Dame by 10 in this one. They're number 7 in the country. I think that they're going to have a pretty solid team this year. In our SEC game of the week, Georgia against Clemson. I think this one's pretty obvious. Number 1, Georgia. Number 14, Clemson. Carson Beck versus Cade Klubnik. This is on Saturday at 11 a.m. This is going to be sharing the national attention with West Virginia and Penn State on Fox. I'm not certain where Georgia and Clemson will be. I'm assuming it's probably going to be ABC or ESPN. I'm going to take Georgia by 8 in this one. I think it's going to be played closer than people expect, maybe. I don't really think Clemson necessarily has a way to win this one, though. I think Georgia is just going to cruise their way to a national championship this year. But, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Ohio State or Oregon will put something in for that. But I do think early national champion for me is Georgia. I think that's a pretty basic pick, but it's the obvious one. Let's go ahead and go to the top 25 scoreboard. You see West Virginia and Penn State, Oklahoma State, South Dakota State, Ohio State versus Akron, Michigan against Fresno State, Oregon against Idaho, and Florida State against Boston College. So let's start with number 2, Ohio State. They're hosting Akron Saturday at 2:30. Not going to be a close game. I'm going to pick a big blowout, Ohio State by 48. Next, number 3, Oregon versus number 7, Idaho for the FCS poll Saturday at 6:30. Idaho's a great team for the FCS. I just think that they're going to have one of the worst days of their lives. I'm going to take Oregon by 52 points because they really just put it on FCS schools at the start of the year. But this next one I think is going to be a little closer. Number 9, Michigan against Fresno State. Fresno State Bulldogs, got a Bulldog right here. I'm sure he's going to be rooting for Fresno State. I think I am too. I think this game's going to be very, very close in the first half. I even think that Mikey Keene is going to start with a lead for Fresno State, and going in the halftime locker room, then Sharon Moore is going to get the team together. I think Michigan comes out of the locker room and absolutely kills Fresno State and wins by 20 points in this one. West Virginia against number 8 Penn State. This one's going to be interesting to you guys. I'm going to take West Virginia. They are hosting Penn State in this one. I'm just smelling an upset in this one. I'm actually going to take West Virginia on a game-winning field goal. Maybe if I were to put some tabs on it, I'm going to go 24-21 to end the game. Fans rushing the field in Morgantown. I think it's going to be a fun game. Like I said, that one's on Fox at 11 a.m. Going to be watching that one alongside Georgia and Clemson. It's going to be a fun game. And, there is potential that Penn State does absolutely blow them out. But I am going to take West Virginia with the upset in this one. Next, we have Florida State against Boston College. Florida State is number 10 in the country. They just lost in Ireland last Saturday to Georgia Tech, week 0. And, the AP poll doesn't move around after week 0, so obviously they don't go anywhere. But, very shocking loss. They lost by 3, a game-winning field goal to Georgia Tech. But they are hosting Boston College. I think this game will be played kind of closer than people expect. But I am going to take Florida State by 17 in this one. I think that Bill O'Brien coaching Boston College, he can turn around the program up there. I think they won a bowl last year, but I think Florida State, they're going to bounce back. They're going to be angry. They came into this year, I think they just thought that they're going to roll Georgia Tech, and obviously that didn't happen, so they got humbled right away, which is a good thing. I'm all for upsets in the first week, especially with good teams getting upset, because then they really click because they know it can happen, any given Saturday. So I am going to take Florida State there. And our top 25 game of the week is going to be Oklahoma and South Dakota State. Sorry, Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State is 17 in the country. South Dakota State, number 1 in the FCS poll. And, this one's more for Grandma right now. Grandma, there is FBS. That's the big schools. It's Division 1A. And then there's Division 1AA. The FCS, you have Missouri State and SEMO. Missouri State is moving up, but that's besides the point. The middle-sized schools are in the FCS, and then, of course, it drops to D2. But South Dakota State leads FCS this season. I believe they won the national championship in FCS last year, if I'm remembering correctly. Saturday at 1 p.m., Oklahoma State hosting. I'm going to take an upset. I said it. South Dakota State by 2 in my books. I think this is going to be a shocker. I think South Dakota State comes in there and gets it done. Don't ask me why, because I've got no clue. But I'm going to take South Dakota State in this one. But I guess that's all we've got. Brutus is a little bored now, so I think that's our cue to call it good. Hopefully this is a 12, 13, 14-minute video. I've got no clue, but yeah, don't forget to subscribe, please. Tomorrow, NFL video. I think Easton will be here. If not, it will be Brutus in the chair again. But this has been Missouri Sports Talk. We'll see you next time.